Biggest improvement we saw was at the regional track meet. She started out stressed. There was a change in the warm-up. She couldn't use one of the poles that she needed to use, and she was losing it, falling apart. We just said, okay, you got to stop. You got to do Craig's stuff. You need to go through your, what's it called, emotional mastery steps, and your guided visualization things. Put Craig, we've got the iPod with the things on it that help her remember how to do that. And you got to sit down, you got to get yourself away from everybody, and you got to focus. And this is life. You just have to be able to do this. And I walked away going, oh man, we're in trouble. She's not going to make it to state. She's not going to be able to pull this off. And then she started warming up, and she was smiling, and she was fine. And it was a little bit shocking, actually, because I hadn't necessarily seen her smile. And she just jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and ended up PRing that day at 11 feet 7 inches, which is, a phenomenal jump. And just smiled the whole time, and she knocked the bar down twice at 11 feet because she had never jumped over 11 feet before. Knocked it down twice and got off the mat both times smiling, and knew she would get it the third time, and did, and then proceeded to jump clear up to 11 feet 7 inches. Was battling some injuries. Told her too, I said, just think about what Craig would take you through. Think about, what you need to visualize on, and try to just put this injury out of your mind until you finish this competition, and then it can hurt. And she did that too. And so it was a phenomenal day. And overall, she's a happier kid. I'm not, percentage-wise, I would have told you before, she was 90% unhappy, 10% happy. And I would say we're close to, 60% happy, 40% unhappy now. Because she has some tools that she can use to help herself get her brain back under control. The day that we decided we needed help was the day that it was just her and I, and we were the only ones home. And I said, we need to sit down and we need to come up with a list of positives about anything. And she could not come up with one thing to write on the list. Not one. She couldn't.
Wow.
She didn't enjoy anything. She didn't enjoy pole vault. She didn't enjoy cheerleading. She didn't enjoy school. She doesn't enjoy her friends, because she would get so caught up in, this is the goal I need to meet here because I've decided that. It's a goal that's almost impossible to reach. And so then she would constantly be trying to do that, but constantly telling herself she couldn't do it. So we were in a vicious cycle. We had all the little sticky notes set up all over the whole house. I will jump 11 feet. I will, all these things, and none of it mattered because she couldn't override her negative thoughts. So it was very difficult to watch as a parent, to watch your kid be that worried about an event. So we talked about possibly giving up the event, but that's not in her nature. She's highly competitive, and if she's not involved in one of those types of competitive athletic events, then she's not happy. But she wasn't necessarily happy doing it either because she was so scared. So anyway, we started deciding that we need to find somebody who could help her gain control of her own brain. So we just started researching, looking online, asking college coaches, and the mental toughness training through Craig came up. By the end of the season, ended up being the state champion. So she definitely ended on a very positive, good note. It's difficult as a parent with kids that are this driven because they want to do so much. And so we have tried to support her in every way we can with, camps and everything, and getting her extra practice and extra coaches and tutoring and blah, blah, blah. And then, unfortunately, sometimes that is perceived as extra pressure by the parent that the kid needs to do better, that, mom and dad are spending this kind of money, and mom and dad are taking us here and taking us there, and that's more pressure for me. So it's really hard as a parent to walk that line, and I'm probably not very good at it, but I really am trying, since we've been working with you, to keep my mouth closed a little more and just try to let her deal with her stuff, and let her know that, we're completely and totally proud of everything she does, no matter what. She doesn't have to be the state champion. That's not our expectation of her. Our expectation is that she's happy. And that's the biggest advice, I think, is if you can just try to support them and tell them you want them to be happy,